What's up, it's Nez, and welcome back to The Letter, everyone! Last episode, we finished up Isabella's story and continued on with Ma'am Hannah's story. We say our goodbyes, shake hands, and make it clear without outright saying it that we now own this house. By the time we left the mansion grounds, sunset is almost upon us.
So, you really want to buy this place then?
Yes, it's absolutely lovely to hold grand parties in and die.
That's a bit of a big impulse buy, even coming from you. Not that I'm complaining.
Well, I'm glad you're not complaining like you usually do.
You were complaining the whole morning.
It's a right and proper Christmas miracle, isn't it? Hannah has finally done something right.
I refused to look at him, staring at the passing scenery instead.
Hey, Buttercup, what's with this cheek?
Rose, Lily, Mint. The nerve, Luke, the nerve!
Is that what this was about? One, that woman's name was Rose.
Oh, so you remembered her name, you jackass.
And two, you know I don't mean a word of that empty flirting.
And it's still the principle of things, Luke.
She's absolutely correct.
I understand if you try to woo them to get what you want when it seems that I'm not looking. But I told you once before not to do it when I'm there.
Luke dealt with other women in the past to get what he wanted. Sometimes I have my doubts. I really want to believe that I'm an exception, that he is not just using me like he used those other girls. I'm having a hard time believing that now. And it isn't just shameful flirting. There's something about that Marianne woman, as if Luke is familiar with her. As much as it shames me, it makes jealousy rear its ugly head. I am, suffice to say, ticked off.
Really? I forfeit my trip to Cardiff for this, and you're still not happy.
You're a fucking cunt.
Oh, trust me, Luke. I am very happy. Very happy that, for once, we are doing something that I want. Can you not see the smile on my face?
Yes, can't you see the smile on our beautiful face? It is only when I let loose those words that the truth hits me like a slap on the face. And by the looks of it, it seems to have the same effect on my dear, darling husband. It has always been, Luke wants to do this, and Luke wants to do that, hasn't it? I don't even remember the last trip we went to, which was of my own choosing, without needing to get the man's approval. On every single expedition he wished to tackle, and I never objected. The rest of the ride home is spent ignoring each other, pretending the other didn't exist. Arriving at our penthouse, my first order of business is to get into bed. Forget a hot bath and forget tea, I just want to bury myself in blankets and forget everything in my slumber. It seems that Luke has the same idea in mind as he tags along behind me. But this is something I will not allow the moment I pass through the door.
Out.
What the bloody hell, woman? This is my bedroom too!
Luke stands flabbergasted as I deny him entry into our chambers. His pillows lie on the cold tiled floors away from the warmth of our soft down bed, and my gaze promises him the same fate if he does not budge on this matter.
Don't even try to argue, because I am very cross with you, Luke Wright. You can take the second bedroom or the guest room if you wish, but I do not want to see you at all for the rest of the night.
Johans!
Our butler wanders in, a curious expression on his face. He doesn't quite hurry, moving at a relaxed pace no matter how angry his master sounded.
No, you are not allowed to sleep in my room, sir.
Yep, he's not gay, I'm sorry, Luke.
That's not what I mean! Help me talk some sense into her!
There is no sense in questioning her right to be angry, sir.
See, even Johannes has our back, you little prick.
So, if I might be excused, I'll go prepare the second bedroom for you.
I have to keep a straight face as he stomps away in defeat.
Mutiny! This is mutiny! The system is being upturned, and the people are rioting, and everything is left asunder!
She's your fucking wife. It isn't every day that Luke is rendered speechless by someone he considers inferior, or to yield another authority without an ulterior motive. His pride just won't allow it. I do keep telling the man to treat his people better. He may throw whatever fit he wants, but he will not be getting his way tonight. Although, we did see the ghost in the mansion, so maybe sleeping alone is not a good idea. Victorious, I celebrate by jumping face first onto our bed. Undignified, yes, but nobody's here to judge me anyway. I wouldn't be so sure about that. Right? Nobody is here to tell me what to do. Yet as I succumb to sleep, I can hear them whisper to me. I can hear them whispering. What the fuck? Oh no, she can hear them too. Calling for me. They want me. need me. They drown me, pull me down and suffocate me in their embrace until I sink to the bottom. A deep abyss awaits, inviting yet foreboding. They're calling to me from in there, aren't they? And I do want to help, I do. But when I try to reach out, something pulls me back, like a hook sinking itself into my stomach. Okay, hello. Hi there. And I break through the surface with a gasp. Alone in bed and without Luke to hog the covers, I'm swathed in cloth and slicked with sweat. It takes me a while to untangle myself and kick them all off. Both the bed and I are a right mess by the end of it all, but I'm more than eager to just get up and go out for some fresh air. You need more than fresh air, maybe a priest or an exorcist. Okay, it's October 26th, Wednesday. This is the next week, supposedly after Rose already died. The days past had gone by a blur. We hadn't talked much, Luke and I, outside of necessity. In fact, we've hardly talked beyond the topic of acquisitions of properties. Properties being the mansion, obviously. Everything has been so busy that I haven't talked to anyone outside of business, and it is just so stressing. So one can understand my need for a good chat, preferably over a good meal. There are times when any decent, emotionally healthy, and socially capable person need a good friend. One who will talk to them without the conversation degrading or turning into an argument. Or barring a nearby friend, I have an interior designer under a confidentiality agreement to listen to me.
Up, higher, come on now!
The place is bustling with movers, carrying furnishings here and there, along with several trunks of personal belongings taken from our penthouse. I can hear Luke barking at them in the other room, making sure nothing is handled carelessly or gets stolen.
Careful now! I know your pictures are framed by cheap plastic, but those are framed by African blackwood and are one-of-a-kind commissioned paintings. Each one is easily worth a lifetime of what you lot make.
It is hard to tune him out. The walls did not do a good job of muffling him at all. But then again, it is Luke. I would still hear him ranting even if we were on the opposite sides of the mansion, and I'm wearing earplugs.
I'd really like to thank you for inviting me to breakfast, Mrs. Wright, but I already ate, so I should really go back to work.
Nonsense! You arrived so early, you must not have gotten a proper meal.
You know what? Hannah's being a lot nicer than what we initially thought her as. She's still a bit rich person-y, but at least she cares about her people.
Our butler has made a surprisingly lovely bubble and squeak. Sit, sit! I'd situate us in the dining hall, but it is a mess right now. Oh, Johans!
Oh, Johans! The man in question appears, ready with a tray as he starts to set the table for us. He sits in silence as we are each served a plate. Bubble and squeak, topped by a nicely poached egg with cherry tomatoes and other garnishings adorning the edges of the plate. A cup and saucer and a teapot with some Earl Grey is placed down for Marianne, and I ask for an orange Julius.
How are you liking the project?
Drop that vase and I'll have your head! I know it's only an 8 million yen vase, but I swear,
Well, it's certainly a fun challenge, incorporating the designs of a Jacobean manor and the functionality of a modern household. I have ideas I would like to suggest, by the way, about what to use the second bedroom for. I have been informed of your goddaughter and thought a kid-friendly room might be in order.
We have a goddaughter?
You read my mind. I was actually going to bring that up. Oh, that would just be so lovely, Marianne. That way, Kylie can bring her friends over as well. And a good friend of mine, Rochelle, is expecting a baby. So, why don't we think about putting a crib in there too?
Well, the more people the ghost can kill, I guess.
I can just imagine little ones running around, filling this place with the pitter-patter of their feet. We'd have to make sure they don't trip and fall on the stairs, though.
Okay, we've confirmed that Hannah is actually a nice person.
We won't be able to finish everything up until after the party. But we'll have it ready by then, so that all we need to do is to move in the furnishings.
Yes, that's plenty fine. It's not like we're in a hurry to have it. And we wouldn't want the workers to disturb the guests or the other way around, do we?
We wouldn't want the ghost to disturb the guests, but yeah, sure, still by the mansion.
Just make sure it's presentable. You know, in case a guest snoops about.
Of course. As for the kitchen you wanted, I've already negotiated for the high-end stoves and the hot and cold drawers, so on and so forth. I've got a friend who is able to customize them so that they'll look like the counters we'll be replacing and fit the rest of the interior. They'll be bringing them in today.
why can't you people do anything right? Don't drag it, you'll scratch the wood.
Excellent.
God damn it, Luke.
But no, really, how have you liked it so far?
Oh, it has been wonderful, believe me. Everything is going smoothly too? It has been a long time since I've worked on something on this grand a scale. Nowadays, everyone is about condos and flats, living in the city where every room is an identical box.
I live in one of those.
Believe me, this is very refreshing.
We lived in a condo before this, Marianne.
I didn't mean any insult.
It's fine, sweetie. Look at you, all frazzled. I was just pulling your leg.
Will Hannah be our second waifu? Is she becoming our next waifu? Rose is dead.
Luke wanted that penthouse when we got married, and you can thank him for purchasing this place as well.
I'm sorta kinda liking her already. She'll become our next waifu. I hope she doesn't die though. She looks confused. Of course, she has every right to be. She no doubt overheard me push that estate agent into the sale, making quite the aggressive offer. She saw me sign the papers for the mansion as well. I just had to scoff.
Don't be fooled. I'm just the treasury. I wouldn't be able to make a purchase this grand without his seal of approval.
I see.
That's it. That's all you have to say.
Yes, it wouldn't be appropriate to comment further.
Well, that's professionalism for you.
It is unprofessional.
See?
Unprofessional.
I can't help but let out a deep sigh as I stick a fork into the dish. I didn't want professional. I want someone who will either agree with me, even if it's just for the sake of agreeing, or someone who will try to talk some sense into me. Neutral responses are so boring. There's no discourse in the middle ground. Exactly, right?
The food is good. Best bubble and squeak.
Of course it is. Our kitchen staff only uses the freshest hand-picked ingredients. Only the best for the rights.
Mr. Wright is not joining us?
No, he could go play with his vases or whatnot.
No, he's far too busy bossing people around.
Go fuck yourself, Luke.
He even refused to join me for breakfast earlier. Hence, this.
Well, you did kick him out of the bedroom last night, but for good reason.
I see. My apologies. I really don't know what sort of response you expect to get from me.
There's the clatter of silverware as I slam my hands on the table. It is frustrating. I am frustrated. At Luke mostly. But Marianne's neutral, professional answers are certainly irksome as well.
You're a human with feelings and opinions, aren't you? Don't give me this bollocks about being professional when we're having a nice friendly chat over a nice and friendly breakfast. I can only talk about interior designs for so long, and I detest one-sided conversations, Marianne.
She's looking for a friend. She only wants a friend. Or a conversation partner.
But I really don't know what to say, Mrs. Wright. We were talking of no topic in particular, and...
Luke. We were talking about Luke.
About him not eating breakfast with you?
About him treating me as if I were some treasury.
That's it. Let it out, girl. Let it out. I didn't realize that I shouted that loud until it was too late. There's a stunned silence that settled before I slumped back into my seat. Hiding my face behind my hands, I can feel my shoulders shake. Breathe, I told myself. Calm down. But it is just so hard.
Honestly, sometimes I feel like he doesn't love me anymore.
Now this is a picturesque moment between two colleagues.
Oh, have I been so blind? Did he ever love me at all? Was our marriage all for the sake of saving his company and his wealth? Because...
Because?
Did I say that out loud again? No, this is bad. Unacceptable. It has been rumored before, the real reason for our engagement, but if anyone were to know this? Marriages of necessity to carry on political and financial power used to be a common thing, but the Evan Wrights union is the perfect happily ever after. Was supposed to be. It is true that we first met each other in order to discuss dealings, to make the then falling Wright Enterprise a subsidiary for Evans Incorporated. But I do remember being in love with him, and there were times when he said he loved me back. Even if I'm not sure of what the truth is now. Either way, I don't want the Wright name or the Evans name dragged through the mud because of this slip-up. Threaten Marianne? Ask her for silence. And if Marianne so much as talked of this, we'll just ask her for silence. We don't want to be a bitch towards her. She was the only person who tried listening to us. And who knows? Maybe these two can actually get together, you know what I'm saying? They seem like two waifus of the same kind. Marianne is a good sort, isn't she? So far, she has been reasonable and accommodating, even towards Luke's ridiculous requests. Patient and professional, did it only extend to business? Or would she be able to understand that things like this are not as simple, not as clean as they are painted to be? Certainly I can talk to her. Ask for her...
I won't speak a word, Mrs. Wright. Not only am I contractually obliged to, it would also go against my principles.
Thank you, Marianne.
This is no one else's business but your own, and it should be kept between the two of you. And whoever you wish to seek counsel from.
Please, Marianne. You have to understand. These sort of affairs, if anyone were to know this, they could just twist it and we'll be ruined. All I ask for is your silence on the matter.
If I am to be frank, Mrs. Wright, this isn't new for me. You aren't the first, and you certainly won't be the last to have complicated dealings.
We've had complicated dealings. With the ghost. With Rose.
Unless what you're doing is illegal, I turn a blind eye.
Can I trust her?
If I wasn't in the same boat, I'd be trying to pry those secrets and gossip with you about them by now.
Well, I'm keeping that information confidential as well.
It's not like I have any other choice, do I?
Thank you.
We continue to eat our meal in peace, finishing the last of the food and drink. When the door to the parlor opened, Marianne and I are just sitting in silence.
Madam, the photographer from Luxury Living is here.
I give him nothing but a small nod.
This was a wonderful meal, Marianne. You're free to return to your duties. I must excuse myself.
It was my pleasure. And thank you for the food as well.
Making my way downstairs, I look back and see Marianne give me a nod and a small smile. That certainly put me in lighter spirits. Oh wait, no, I just realized. They're setting Marianne up so that she'll die. We're getting to know her so that her death will be more significant. An interview with Luxury Living. That is today, isn't it? Oh yes. People had caught wind of our new mansion the very moment we left the open house. Luke had boasted he could acquire the property in no time and allowed a photo shoot for an interior design magazine to be scheduled today. Well, there were complications and it took longer than it usually does for us. Hopefully I won't have any other unfortunate slip-ups with someone who isn't bound by confidentiality. The mansion grounds has been one of the first things to be fixed up, aside from the bedroom. Although it's still a work in progress, it had a promising start, and I can already see the flower patches. Luke's favorite daffodils stand out easily, having been transplanted from the pots used to litter the rooftop of the penthouse. Why, if the moving crew thought that Luke was being hard on them, they clearly didn't see the landscaper on his way out. The man looked like he was ready to faint, and Luke seemed ready to kill him by the end of their discussion. It is in the gardens that I see him standing near the flowers in quiet admiration. Zach? What are you doing here? He is hard to miss, the hulk of a man that clearly did not belong, and the big backpack and suitcase he has with him makes him look much larger. It is a peculiar sight, seeing someone who looks like he does handling little delicate things with such care. Are they gonna set up Zach and Hannah together? Are they gonna become a couple? When Luke dies, will they get together? Ooh. He looks up from the gardens and does a double take before a friendly face replaces his serene expression.
Miss Wright, yeah? Hi, Zachary Steele here from Luxury Living, ma'am.
Oh, Zach, you work for that magazine.
Hope you weren't waiting too long. But it looks like you're still moving in, huh? Thought for a second there my calendar was wrong and I came here too early.
You look familiar. Have we met?
We have, when we blessed your house. I had a very wide social circle, so everyone looks familiar at one point or another. But one would think I'd remember someone who stands out like him. The struggle to recall must have been evident on my face as he quickly and kindly answers my question.
Oh, I was with Isabella, your estate agent, when she had the house blessed.
Oh yes, that's right. Small world, isn't it?
Very. Almost like this entire story was written in such a way where all the main characters would get together in some sort of spider web. I wonder.
Should have known you were Miss Wright.
The one and only. Welcome, welcome to Maison de Right.
Welcome to Maison de Right.
And yes, we've been in the process of moving in as we were delayed. But it won't be a problem. They're just adding a few things here and there, and you should still be able to do your work. Where's the rest of your crew then, Mr. Steele?
Zach is fine, please. Mr. Steele makes me feel like I'm a mascot for a cleaning product. Anyway, I'll be your one-man crew for today. Don't worry, been doing this gig for a while now.
You must be quite the veteran to handle this on your own.
Oh, they're getting closer to each other. Hee.
We've had a full crew coming into our penthouse the last time we were covered in your magazine.
Or maybe it's just small talk.
Veteran? Oh, your words are too kind, Miss Wright.
Ah, you're blushing, Zach, you're blushing.
Hannah!
First name basis. Okay.
If I get to call you Zach, you have my permission to call me Hannah.
Alrighty then.
Alrighty then.
Anyway, I'm no veteran, but I know my camera well enough to make sure this is a good shoot. You can trust me on that, Miss Hannah.
Uh-huh. Zachary proves quickly enough that I can in fact trust him, his skills with the camera and experience in this industry at the very least. He is kind and courteous, listening and following as I lead him around the house. A really nice fellow, and he treats our household staff well whenever we cross paths with them. I answer his questions to the best of my ability, and he is patient enough to answer mine whenever I get curious enough. For one, I ask what the bags are for. They are quite the magician's toolkit. From inside, he had procured several items to embellish the interior with. Bowls of fruits, lemons, trays with peppermills, sacks of cookbooks, cutting boards, and glass canisters filled with colorful nuts and grains are brought in for a kitchen setting. For the bathroom, there are white towels, seashells, and decorative soaps. There are other things as well, too numerous to count, all in the large backpack and suitcase.
Tricks of the trade. Softens up a room, makes a place feel more homey, and fills it up with texture. But you guys probably have better stuff I can use for this.
No lights. Don't tell me all of these are just props.
Well, I've got my tripod here. For things like these, natural light is best.
Very true.
I'll just have to set the shutter speed to a real slow setting, and as long as nobody steps into the shot, it'll look great.
Oh, it better.
We go through the rooms one at a time, although we first tackle the ones that the movers have no business in anymore. The ballroom needs little preparation with its grand design. Although there is some trouble at first, with the wide open space and the pictures being backlit. It is in the kitchen that Zachary's props come in handy, considering how Johans kept the place so neat and sterile, one can practically eat off the floor. We carry on, touring the house and taking pictures where we can, with exception to the rooms which have yet to gain any purpose or design. Too bad I can't take a sneak peek at his photos yet. Funnily enough, he is using a traditional camera. I didn't even know film still existed. With the way he speaks, however, I can see that he knows enough about his craft that I'm not too worried about botched photographs. I imagine photography must be cathartic for him, judging by how at ease he looks while taking pictures. There are small snippets of conversation in between the clicking of the camera. He goes far as to talk about these terminologies like shutter speeds and aperture when I ask about technical aspects. I can't quite see the picture as it is made, much like when I watch artists paint on their canvas. But just watching someone passionately practicing their craft such as this is exciting in its own way. Going through the many rooms has been quite the exercise for both of us. Despite that, he has been so nice and I find myself putting on my best smile. New couple! Oh man, new shipping. I ship these two really hard. But it is as we're taking pictures in the foyer that everything comes to a standstill for a moment. Just a moment. And have I not been paying attention, I wouldn't have noticed. It is merely a split second when Zachary's rhythm is put to a halt. What the fuck? What the fuck? Holy shit! His finger doesn't move to release the shutter. Yet he also doesn't pull the camera away from his face, gaze still firmly fixed through the viewfinder. His hands shake and there's a light sheen of sweat on his forehead.
Zachary?
Miss Wright? Hannah? No response.
Zach? Is something the matter?
Lowering his camera, he blinks and stares at something behind me before shaking his head. Turning around though, I see nothing that could have gotten his attention.
Oh no, there's nothing wrong. I just remembered something I saw.
Zach, you're starting to see her too, aren't you?
Let's get back to the pictures. Can you move a bit more to the left, yeah?
I struggle to respond this time. There's a sudden weight on my back and an indescribable tightness around my throat. Everything stops. And everything starts again as I manage to choke out.
If you're sure.
I don't know what just happened. It was probably just a dizzy spell. I'm fine. And he said he's fine. We continue at the same pace before, although there is an unspoken agreement that we will not talk about what happened.
So, is this a full-time job for you then?
Nah, I just freelance mostly, for magazines, newspapers, and events. So you can't really call it a full-time job.
Really? We're not gonna talk about the creepy fucking ghost that was trying to strangle you?
It's fun and it puts food on the table, but it's not what I really want to do.
You wanna make films, Zach? Make films if you want to!
At least, not all the time.
What is it that you want to do then?
Maybe I've been out of line, sticking my nose into other people's business, but I can't help but ask. I regret doing so as I see his shoulders slump and the easygoing air he has fades away. He looks torn over whether he wants to talk about it or not.
Films. Documentaries mostly. But cinematography is a lot more difficult than photography, right? I was working on this thing, actually.
What thing?
Well, it wasn't really a big thing.
Of course it was a big thing. You had your film at a film festival.
People didn't like Blue Fonzie very much.
People don't like a film about colors. I suppose they would have liked Blue Bibby a lot more.
Very funny.
So, Grand Director, do you want to tell me what Blue Fonzie is all about?
He hesitates. But when I refuse to budge on the matter, he gives in and spills it all out. Blue Fonzie, I'm not gonna pronounce his French. Dark blue, the darkest hours of the Black British. He speaks with passion of one who has gone through the very matter he is concerned with. There is conviction, knowledge, and experience in his speech. Why, I would have told him that he is an amazing speaker, if only I wasn't so engrossed listening. Prejudice and discrimination, in schools and in the workplace. Lesser chances for opportunity and higher chances of being treated like a criminal. He spoke of blacks and people of color in general, still being treated like second-class citizens. All because of the color of their skin. It is all just positively riveting. And sad. It comes to a point wherein he loses steam. He looks abashed, realizing what he had just done.
Sorry, I just got so carried away and...
There is seriously a ship forming with these two.
It's fine. It is really so fascinating to watch people talk about their passion after all. You should see how your eyes light up when you speak so fiercely. You do have very beautiful eyes.
Dear Lordy, she's flirting with us.
Uh-huh. Thanks, I guess.
Oh, Zach, you dense motherfucker. I want to say that I understand where he's coming from, but I really don't, do I? I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth, and I've lived a charmed life. It hasn't been perfect, but the difficulties I've been through pales in comparison to what others experience on a daily basis. I certainly don't know how I would have fared were it any different. Would I still have met Luke, and would he still have loved me if I was any lesser?
What was your home like? These things you talk about. It sounds like you've... Well, I don't mean to pry, I mean.
Live with my older sister and my grandparents. We had a shop selling all sorts of things below our flat. And well, I was one of the few non-white, non-British students in class. I didn't get pushed around or anything straight up. Even then, I was one of the biggest kids around, but a pencil and notebook would go missing, you know?
Oh, that I knew. Children can be so cruel at times. Of course, it may be a slightly different story when you have personal guards, and the stolen item is not a pencil but an expensive heirloom.
So what about you? How you liking your new house?
It's nice, I suppose.
You suppose? Not big enough?
What? No, oh, don't be a bully. It's just that...
I understand if you don't want to talk about it.
It's Luke, isn't it? I was a little girl, all dolled up and treated like fragile porcelain, with nursemaids waiting to me hand and foot. All the material possessions anyone could ever want, I could ask for on a whim, and it would be handed to me just like that. But I barely saw my parents, just goodbye kisses in the morning before they went off to who knows where they would be needed next. I saw them more often on the telly or in papers than I ever did in person.
I remember my old house. It was a lot like this one. Big walls and big holes, but nobody in it. Not really.
She's just lonely. She's really lonely. And she has a jackass husband.
It makes you think how alone you are.
A pensive mood overcomes us. And there's a moment when neither of us are sure of how to go on from here. Things have gotten a bit too personal, yet it isn't wholly uncomfortable, like as if we've been friends before.
Well, that's normal, ain't it? You just moved here. You'll make home out of it yet.
He certainly makes it easy to believe that. My childhood house is indeed a lot like this one. Just as large and extravagant, and just as empty. I hope he's right.
So, Monsieur le Photographe, you've covered the one and only Ermengarde Mansion. What's next on the agenda?
The interview?
Boring. It's an interior design and housing magazine.
And they want to know what Miss Wright has to say about her interior design and house.
Honor Wright thinks she bought a magnificent house that she can certainly brag about. Blah, blah. Boring. You know what they should print more of? I watched an interesting documentary the other day. Bleu Foncé, the darkest hours of the Black British. I recommend you watch it. Those are the things that people should know about. What do they care if I use a purple or green bowl of fruit in my kitchen?
People, right?
Oui. People are shite.
People are shite.
What do you think? Do I look good with this angle?
I strike a pose while he's being busy, looking taken aback for a moment, probably not expecting me to just go and say such a crass word. But he recovers quickly, and after snapping a few shots, he grins.
Yeah, vous êtes belle. You want copies of these ones?
Yes, please. So, the big boy knows French. You must have wooed a few ladies. Unless you're into gents. Either way, French is, after all, the language of romance.
And both of you speak it.
Oh, I don't know about quoting fancy poetry, but I've made lunch for a girl before, and they did like that fancy French cuisine.
Can you cook your best?
I could cook just about anything as long as I know the recipe.
C'est magnifique.
It has been too long since I've had a nice and proper chat with a good friend. No, Lee is certainly not a good friend. And although we've just met, Zachary is the sort who can probably befriend anyone. He's just a comfortable person to be around with. And a bit too comfortable. The photo shoot went by a breeze. And somewhere along the way as we talk and laugh, I find myself getting a bit too close without realizing. He'll give me this strange look until I back off, and he'll go back to asking his questions after I agreed to do his little interview. And it's just odd. Well, no. Me being friendly isn't that odd. That is how I am. Zachary is the one that's being odd. Why anyone else would absolutely welcome the extra attention I give them. He, on the other hand, looks almost flustered about it. He should be used to different personalities by now, having to deal with various people he works with. And if not, he needs to start. Perhaps nobody has shown him attention of this kind, but he's a big boy, he should be able to handle me. All it is a friendly touch here, a pretty smile there, and the gentle swaying of the hips as I move around. Zachary grew and grew more red every time he noticed. Am I being mean as I find enjoyment in seeing him unravel? Perhaps. This went on during the interview and beyond that. There's nothing wrong with what we're doing, right? Well, it's sorta kinda the same thing Luke was doing, but it's in a more innocent way, I guess. Zachary and I are just having a playful, friendly chat while enjoying the outside view. At least that's how I see it.
I'm sorry, but I'm really getting distracted. Could you maybe stop doing that?
Stop? I'm not sure if I want to though. Continue teasing. Stop it. And that's it for today's episode of The Letter, everyone. How should we push this relationship further, everyone? Should we continue teasing poor Zach or stop it? Let me know in the comments below. Once again, my name is Nez and thanks for watching. More episodes of The Letter to come. Bye, everyone.